Alright, what to do YouTube? It's your boy Louis Vaughn and I'm back. Let's talk some boxing. Right. Everybody been seeing what's been going on right now with Errol, Spence, and Terrence Crawford. We all wanted to fight. If you're a true boxing fan, I'm a true boxing fan. I stay behind the scenes. I don't post YouTube videos. I watch and I observe, keep my comments to myself for the most part. Sometimes I'll be in the comment section. Now, there's a whole lot been going on. Where do I start? All right, for me personally, from the outside looking in, this is what I see. I've been hearing mumbling that the fight was happening this year. Got super excited, didn't say nothing, and said, hey, listen, it's boxing, anything could happen. Let me just chill. Kept hearing it over and over and over. So after a month and a half of hearing this, I'm like, you know what? Sounds like something to celebrate about. So what I did is I posted on Twitter how excited I was. So, I'm like, damn, we're going to get the biggest fight of the year. I'm telling all my friends that think they're boxing fans to, hey, look out for this fight. This is the next fight up, right? Wrong. Now, why is that wrong? Terrence Crawford has decided this week, today is October 24th. So as of October 21st, if I'm not mistaken, news came out that Terrence Crawford is fighting some bum. I don't know his name. Honestly, I can't remember it off rip. This guy is ranked in the ESPN's top 10. So not a tomato can completely. Did earn a spot to the top 10, but those rankings are pretty weak right now, right? We don't see any standouts apart from Boots Ennis, Jerron Boots Ennis, and we're talking about the welterweight division. All right. So Bomac came out in an interview and said, we signed our part of the deal. We're waiting for Errol, right? So since Bo came out and made that public about a month ago, could be more, could be less, I'm not too sure, but y'all could go do your research, check that out. Bomac did come out and said they agreed up onto everything and their part is actually signed. They're just waiting on Errol, and Errol is holding everything up. Errol kept quiet. He's a smart businessman. Negotiations were ongoing, right? So about a month ago, that came out. Then Terrence Crawford came out on Twitter and said Errol Spence be holding shit up. He doesn't want to sign his part of the contract. So everybody was kind of mad at Errol, like, what's going on? You're going to make the fight. Errol had to come out. Errol ain't tweeting all day, every day. I mean, after a fight, he might say something. If something's real on it, but he's not an everyday tweeter. He's not a volume tweeter. So when he tweets, I read. Errol Spence last week came out and said he could have fought in November. This nigga been holding shit up the whole time. Interesting. Right? So we had Bud, the manager and coach of Terrence Crawford, come out and said the paperwork done, signed, agreed upon everything. And then Terrence Crawford came out and said the same thing, forcing Errol Spence to have to defend himself. Then what do we hear? We hear that Terrence Crawford, now this is where me personally, I said, hey, listen, this is not happening. First time was when Terrence Crawford came out and said that he wants to see the books. Okay, now listen, you're a promotional free agent, right? You are a promotional free agent. You are not signed. I mean, I don't know if you have your own promotional company. I don't think you do. And if you do, you're not licensed or sanctioned under any state, maybe in Omaha, right? So you want to see the books. You're not a licensed promoter in Vegas, right? Because that's most likely where negotiations will be taking place with Showtime. And you are not signed to any network, right? So matter of fact, not even signed to a network. You would have to be a partner with the network to see the books. Hence, Devin Haney, young champion, he could see the books because he is a licensed promotional company. He's a licensed promoter, right? That has partnership deals with the network. That gives him the right to see the books. Now, for a guy like Terrence Crawford, that is barely a registered promoter, don't have a promotional deal, you don't have a network deal, you're not seeing the book. So that's the first flag for me. Second flag, Floyd Mayweather came out and said, guys, don't listen to this Cappinger feel or these cappers from ESPN. They're trying to buy the story, read inside the story, and most likely torment the fight, for lack of better words. ESPN, knowing that they're in negotiation, they will try to leak information to try to fuck up the fight. ESPN does not want to see Showtime supersede them in boxing, right? They're competitive, which is totally fine. But when Floyd came out and said that this man is capping, unless Floyd said this multiple times. This is when I said, definitely fight's not happening this year. Floyd came out and said multiple times, guys, unless you hear the announcement from me, because apart from Al Heyman, Floyd will probably be the guy, the public figure to speak to the public, because Al is not talking to the public at all, right? So Al would make the announcement, maybe Steven Espinoza, right? Or even Errol would make the announcement, since he's the A side. That would probably be something that he says as an A side, let me announce the fight, right? So I'm there and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yep, here goes boxing. I mean, one of the biggest, if this is supposed to be one of the biggest fights in boxing, it's going to take at least a year, maybe 2 to negotiate. Another big fight that did take quite some time to negotiate was Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. We're talking in the modern era, modern time of pay-per-view, right? Other than that, no fight gets done within 2 quarters or 3. It takes multiple quarters of negotiating. Dates are very important, right? Some dates are booked for a year, maybe even 2, especially when we're talking people with network deals. Networks have schedules sometimes for a year, maybe even 2, right? So that was perfectly fine for me. Now, what really got me all the way like, bruh, Terrence Crawford, but first of all, pause, sorry. Shout out to my boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Shout out to you, black man. Much power. Fuck all the bullshit that everybody else is saying. It's not your fault. Now, black people, let's be happy for this black man. Shout out to you, Blue. You know, shout out to you too, Terrence, for trying to support black-owned business. Shout out to you. That's some good shit. This is going over their head. This is a black pay-per-view network, fairly new, bursting onto the scene of boxing. Will they survive? I don't know. Can't see the metrics, don't know the investors, don't know what kind of capital they're playing with, but seemed to me that they land this big fight. Blue is a partner. Now, I watch Blue Blood Sports. That's because Blue is on it, very consistent. Every day, he'll have 1 or 2 videos, breaking news, keeping you up to date in the boxing world, right? Now, Blue, you said you seen Terrence at a 7-Eleven. That lost a lot of credibility. You don't negotiate fights in 7-Elevens, all right? Blue is also trying to explain that, okay, Steven Espinoza did come out and say the fight could still happen in November. I knew that to be a lie, right? Shout out to Barbershop Conversations. Y'all go subscribe to Barbershop. Barbershop knows what he's talking about, all right? Barbershop kept challenging that, the fact that he thought that the fight could still happen in November, right? It's definitely not happening on Fox. We know that for a fact. So, Barbershop Conversation, he knows that Fox, PBC, it's almost done. Al behind the scenes, he's probably negotiating a new deal, or if not already negotiated a new deal with Showtime. Probably is also trying to negotiate a deal with The Zone. Now that's a whole other video. Right, so Steven Espinoza did come out and say it could happen in November. He completely lied. Or did he? Right? So once that came out, I had a little bit of hope, but I listened to Barbershop and I knew it wasn't happening. So if Steven still thought maybe possibly this could still happen in November. What would make Terrence, right, saying that this is the only fight he wants next, go negotiate with another platform? Because it's not a network, this is a platform, right? How long would these negotiations take? Right? How long does any negotiations take? Can it happen over a week? It could be quick? What are the fine details? What are the demands? Like I said, a big fight like Terrence and Errol, that's gonna take a year or two to make. With his opponent now on this new platform, I guess it could be put together really quick, but a red flag. 10 million red flags. Now, this is a startup company. Terrence Crawford is not a big draw. This is not Errol that's selling out Cowboys and have decent enough numbers. This is not even Keith Thurman. This is not Danny Garcia. Let's keep it in the welterweight division, okay? Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, two black fighters, absolutely love them, very talented, but they're the worst sellers. Now, as a startup company, maybe with Canelo, you could be like, let's break the bank because we're going to at least bring in some numbers. Maybe with a Floyd Mayweather, maybe a Jake Paul, something around those lines if you're going to invest $10 million. Now, maybe Blue and his partners have the capital to give 10, but we know this is marketing dollars only. This fight is marketing purpose only. This fight is not meant to market the fighter, boost him up on the next level. This fight is made to market the BLK PP pay-per-view.com. Sorry if I fucked that up, all right? This is off top. Now, you guys are running a marketing campaign on a Terrence Crawford fight. First of all, I don't know where you'll get the capital because in no metrics, it is impossible to even break even. Right? We know Terrence Crawford in all pay-per-views he's done over his years was maybe 250,000, maybe 300,000 pay-per-view buys he's done in all his career. Now, I mean, you guys are not getting any AdSense deal that is wow because you're on no major network that has a pull or a guaranteed X amount of pull that will be watching. You have no primetime slots, etc., 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 right? Merch deals. I don't think you can sell merch. Let's not even talk about ticket sales. And there's no networks is going to pick it up and sell all those ad revenues from TV slots, right? That's where Showtime makes their money a lot. You get all those little promo runs you do. You get your ad slots. You know, you have your 24/7. You could put in your ads and put it on prime time and whatever, right? Show people that want to advertise that, look, I get X amount no matter what program is on. You're guaranteed X amount. They don't have that. So to make it short, impossible to recoup that 10 million. So it's a complete loss, right? Shout out to the black company. You guys are putting money in a black man's pocket. And that's great. But it's a complete loss for BLK. So they're doing it for a promotion. Terrence Crawford. Did it take you 2 months to negotiate this deal? Because that's fast in anybody's book, even a lawyer. A lawyer's not going to read over a contract, go through intricate details, and there's arbitraries and there's actually terms, a set of terms first. It's not taking 2 months. I don't care if you have the whole team of lawyers. You could have the whole law firm. It's not taking 2 months, right? There's intricate details, especially dealing with a startup and a small company at that. So $10 million, good for Terrence, but it's not feasible because it's a complete L for that company. Why would you want to go $2 million hole? So this fight, Story Blue, it's been negotiated while the Errol Spence fight was being negotiated as well. Think about that. So Terrence was always negotiating with Blue and his partners while he was negotiating the Errol Spence fight. to the point that Steven Espinoza still thought that November was possible. Now, why? Because he was misled. That Steven Espinoza, Al Heyman, and everybody over there at the network was misled by Terrence Crawford and Bo Mack. $10 million sounds great right now, Terrence, but it does absolutely nothing but tarnish your career. Why? Because it could be smart business person. This is my mind. The maximum Terrence Crawford ever made on paper was, I believe, $6 million. So even if Al Heyman was like, you know what? Biggest fight of your career, will pay you double that, right? So we'll give you 35%, which is going to ensure that you make more than $6 million. You might make 12 off the back end, right? You might make 10 off the back end. So that number of 10 million, it sounds like you're trying to set a precedence, right? For all who don't know what that is, setting a precedence means I am not going to pay you 10 million if you've never made 10 million before. If you made 6 and I offer you 8, it's your biggest payday, right? Some people take that to heart if they see the pool of money. Now, Terrence probably knows Errol will probably make 50 million, 40, 50 million. And for him to make 8 doesn't sound appealing to him, right? He'll rather say, okay, since you guys want to do that, let's stall, set a precedent. Let me make 10 million. Could probably lie about it, saying plus. So this, you could bring up other numbers. Look, I made 12. Now pay me 24, right? For the biggest fight of my career. Or you guys need this half, so pay me 24. It's negotiable at that point. So business perspective, that's what it seemed like to me. They're trying to set a precedent. Or you're simply ducking. You saw what Errol did to Ugas. Broke his ribs, broke his nose, broke his orbital. And you know it's going to be tough because you're a smaller guy. Errol is going to take that eye. Now you might take both, right? If that fight ever happens, because we know what Errol is. Look what he did to Keith. Look what he did to Keefe, right? Keefe's still begging to this day, right? So Blue coming out trying to do damage control. Blue, we see what you're doing. Much love to you, man. Make your business moves. Do your thing, bro. Straight up. But your timing and your company's timing is going to leave a bitter taste in the hardcore boxing fans' mouth. And Blue knows this because if he was not involved in this deal, which whenever he makes it, you could tell it in his voice. Blue feels some type of way. Even if he's coming out doing videos, trying to explain, giving a good look, the fight is not canceled. It's going to happen next year. You want to know. Terrence is using you because Terrence still have not come out yet and made an announcement to take the leave and pressure off you. So Terrence is laid in, you take the beating on the back end, and he's gonna come in when people are kind of like, and talk about it, but then it's too late, right? Nobody's gonna buy your fight because we feel, and I can say we because I'm a boxing fan, part of the boxing community, we feel that you stink this, right? You said you're gonna beat Errol, easy work, then you're gonna go beat Jermel. You said you're gonna beat up on Errol, then go beat Jermel. Who are you fighting? David? Alright. So, Terrence, are you ducking? You're trying to set a precedent because you want more money from a business perspective. If you wanted to stay active, knowing that the fight would have been at the end of the year, you could have fought your free agent. You're suing Bob Arum. You could have fought, right? But you decided to fight this David guy and then leave a bad taste in boxing fans' mouth. What does this do for your career? Absolutely nothing. You're going to go fight David, whatever his name is, and then go fight Errol. You're going to get bones broken. Point blank, period. This guy cannot prepare you. He cannot keep you in ready. No, you needed a tough fight. Right? A tough fight. Like Errol just had a good fight. He beat that boy up, but he had a good fight. You needed a tough fight to get you to that level to where you have some sort of confidence to compete with Errol. Now you're going to get an easy win, right? It's not going to do nothing for you. So you saying that he wanted to fight before the end of the year and then fight Errol, why couldn't you just wait 2-3 months? We know what Big Fish said. Big Fish said tune-ups are for people that are not sure of themselves. Let that sink in, right? So I see the boxing world go crazy. I see the boxing world going crazy. Me in my head, I couldn't do it anymore. This is one take purely from the heart. It's not scripted. This is how I purely feel, right? So spice it up in there too. Let me just throw this in. I think Errol beats Bud. Yeah, I think he takes at least one orbital. Add that to the collection. That's just what it is. Like Big Fish said, he's light in the ass. Straight up, you just light in the ass, my boy. You gonna get your ass beat, right? Now Errol, we know how he is, right? Look at Keith people. Still begging for a fight to this day. Now, Errol could relinquish the belt, but that wouldn't put him in championship position for the next division when he move up. Like the WBO and the WBC, I believe, have a precedence that if you're champion in the lower weight, you move up, you could enter the top 10 or top 5 to eventually get a shot at a title. But we know he doesn't want to relinquish the belts. We know he doesn't want to do that. He wants to at least defend them and then move up, right? Or actually, no, he doesn't have to defend it. He could just relinquish it, move up. That is it. Does he want to fight a Stanionis? Does he want to fight a Boots right now? Maybe not, honestly. Maybe not, but I don't know. I would love to see the Boots versus Errol fight. I think Errol beats him pretty easy. Boots, he tries to look pretty. His competition right now coming up is not that stiff. To get him up there, maybe he's getting great sparring, but Errol still beats Ennis. He's still too green right now. So the fight to make is Terrence Crawford. Now, Terrence and all the Bud fans. Bud fans. Are y'all gonna pay for that Terrence Crawford fight? Please let me know in the comment section. Please. Please. If you're gonna watch the fight, please tell me why. And why is it important? What does it do for his career? What does he do if Errol decides to fight him in 3 months? And now, if he wasn't negotiating this fight while he was negotiating the Errol fight, he signed a contract in a month. Blue tried to come out and said, oh, the contract was signed only 30 minutes before him announced. Yeah, it was signed 30 minutes before, but it was negotiated at least 2-3 months now. Come on, my boy Blue, I love you, my nigga. You making your money, I ain't mad at you, but don't lie to the people trying to do damage control, my boy. Boxing fans are already pissed as it is. Don't try to take us for idiots. Get your money, man. Start up your thing. Do your thing. Terrence is a good dude for looking out and say, yo, black-owned business, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Let me help out my people. Why not? Do it for the culture. But we want to see Errol and Bud. We don't care nothing about none of that. So your timing is bad. It's going to be 10 million ill spent. It's Terrence is going to have a bad taste because it's not going to sell. It's not going to do nothing. And when you go to the negotiating table and say, look, I made 10 million my last fight. Yeah, you made 10 million at the expense of a company. You're probably going to run a company down into the dirt with that. So there's no company going to look at that 10 million as precedence for you to make 10. You're going to say, okay, well, yeah, you got paid 10, but that company lost 6. Right? So really, they should have